She switched on her bedside lamp and put on her pajamas. Chapter 6. Simply Unbelievable. Lacey paced back and forth, staring at the card. Other Lacey had been there. She hadn't imagined any of it. Something happened in the woods, and somehow other Lacey had gotten into her room. Lacey kept pacing, trying to decide whether to tell her dads. By the time she settled on laying it all out, the clock read midnight. I'll sound insane if I say anything now, she realized. I'll tell them tomorrow and stay up to make sure other Lacey doesn't get in again. After locking her windows, Lacey sat on her bed with the light on. She stared at the card. She had so many questions. Why take over my life? She wondered. Who is this other person? Is the double even a person? How does she look exactly like me? Lacey's eyes felt heavy as her mind spun. She blinked once, then twice, then... Lacey sat up suddenly. Sun streamed through the window curtains and she smelled bacon frying downstairs. She had fallen asleep. She looked around in a panic, wiping drool from her mouth. There weren't any signs that other Lacey had broken in, and she hadn't had any weird dreams. Maybe she was safe. The thought made Lacey feel braver. She grabbed the card and bounded down the stairs, determined to get help. "Good morning," boomed Pops. He was frying bacon on the stove. "You're up before 10 on a Saturday? What's going on?" "She smelled breakfast, I bet," Dad said with a wink. He added another plate to the two already on the table. "What's on your plate today?" he asked, winking again. Lacey chuckled, but got serious. "I have to show you something," she said. They came over, and Lacey held out the card. Pops took it and began to read. He frowned. "What is this?" "That note was left on my bed last night," Lacey said. She took a deep breath. "This sounds crazy, but a girl is impersonating me. I think she wants to take over my life. She's the one who volunteered at the hospital. I wish it was me, but it was her, and she's the one who aced the math test." Lacey looked down. She hated to admit everything, but maybe it would convince her dads that this was real. They stared at her for a moment. Then Pops put the card down on the counter. "Lacey, if you don't want to volunteer anymore, just say so." Dad shook his head. "Why would you make up a story like that?" he asked. "Are you afraid we'll expect perfect scores on all your tests? We only ever expect you to try your best. That's all." Lacey felt tears threatening to escape the corners of her eyes. "I know this sounds like a bananas story, but I'm not lying. I saw her taking my test. I saw her walking downtown." Said Pops. "And how did you see this girl taking the test if you were in class?" She started. "Well, I was late." Then she added, "You didn't wake me up." Dad sighed. "I don't know why you're doing this, but that's enough, Lacey. You already said you would volunteer at the hospital, so you're keeping that promise. Your shift starts in 30 minutes. I would start getting ready. We'll talk more later." The tears in Lacey's eyes finally spilled over as she turned away. She ran up to her room and threw herself onto her bed, sobbing. She looked up at the ceiling. Maybe I should just let this other Lacey take over, she thought. She seems to be doing a better job of living my life. Maybe it would be better that way. Lacey could almost swear she heard a giggle and the word yes in her own voice roll around the room. Chapter 7. Fear in the Forest. After a while, Lacey's crying slowed. She sat up and dried her eyes. A new feeling had started growing in her. A better feeling. A determined feeling. Her dad's had been right the other night. She used to have a lot more motivation. She used to be a better friend. She wasn't sure why she had let herself become someone she was not. But she wasn't ready to give up on herself just yet. It was time to go back to the woods to find other Lacey.